What's up, boys? So we are finally at the service interval for the brand new bikes that I received from a company called Boadiao. It's finally to a point that I have to do service on it. So now, this is the original manual for the bike, and I can confirm, unlike those other Chinese bike that you buy, they would send you any random manual. I can confirm that you can follow this manual to a point that if you have mechanical expertise, it will help you out maintaining the bike. Now, as you may know, running that China Motorsport franchise, I am well versed on the Chinese market, on parts, engines, body, frame, all of that. So this book I've had for a while now. It's not something I just bought, because a long time ago I used to own enduro bikes, so I had this book to maintain them. And I was just looking at my plug collection, and you won't believe it, I still have old plugs that are at least 8 years on my collection that I have never used because I sold those bikes, but now can be used for the one I'm about to service. So that one is DPR7 EA-9. That is good for below 41 degrees or something like that. Now, here's the thing. When I received the bike, as beautiful as it is, and all its fame and glory, it was working, right? But there was one thing that was wrong with it. So I put the gas in there, I turned the key on, I didn't want to start it, just wanted to see if it works. It showed me the gas tank was full. As the bike ran, when I finally decided to run the bike, and that wasn't the same that I put the battery on, because I like to do things in order. See if it turns on, stops there, take the battery back. That's how I work. So the bike was outside for at least 2 more weeks without being registered, just turned on, and at least half a tank of gas. So when the bike finally turned on, when it finally ran, the gas showed the gas meter shows that it had gas in there. But as soon as it vibrates, automatically my tank is empty. So I have experience with fixing gas gauge in the past. They're all the same comment. When the gauge get rusted too much, it broke on the tank, and you literally hear a clinking sound back and forth. So I was really listening to see if there was any clinking sound. There were none. So I said, okay, it's not the tank, even though I have to do the tank. As you can see here, that's the body of the bike. I'm gonna paint this black just so it could give you that illusion that it's filled, because right now that white color is kind of bothering it and making it look, you see all the emptiness of the bike. So the gas tank, the gauge was empty. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna fix that, and I know it's not the gas tank, and I'm gonna fix it. But then again, there was this service thing going on. I could service the bike the minute that I get it, like I see if it ran, and then start the bike like any regular new, and then complaining that the factory oil is not the proper oil, it's a cheap oil. You know, that's what people always says. They're gonna change the bike oil instantly. Me, I don't do that. I appreciate the company for the effort they put in to ship the bike to me and to properly put the oil on the bike. Even though I'm being sarcastic, some company gives you quality oil. Apparently, Boadiao does give you quality oil. Congratulations, Boadiao. LaFon does give you quality oil. Whereas John Way, oh, forget it. Not only do we overfill that engine, the whole bike will leak. You got front shock will leak. You got underneath gas tank will leak gas. You got rear shock will leak. You got engine will leak, and then you got the water pump will leak. I had to fix all those leaks on the bike. Yeah, John Way is the worst company to buy things from. Thank God when I got the bike from them, automatically when I see that oil is overfilled, I drain the whole bike out just to try to find out the right quantity. So, but Boadiao did the right thing. When I check the oil level and I see it's not overfilled, there were no need for me to drain it out. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna use the bike's oil and then prolong to a 600-mile interval. Now, anything that happened between that 600 miles, which is what Chinese bike is known for, they're not made to work like a real bike. They're made to work with headaches all the time. Anything that happens, I'm going to fix it and I'm going to start the service. So, gas tank gauge is down. I don't bother. I'm like, I can deal with it. But I'm always trying to remember when I put the gas on. Then, the bike, that's the main issue. And that's been bothering me since day one. It does not stay idle. Oh, you do not want that on the bike. When you get a Chinese bike or any bike whatsoever, the minute that you turn the key on, you got two things going on. If it's electronic, there is a choke system, right? It will literally pump gas on the bike until the engine is hot enough. Then it will decrease, that choke system will be off and the engine will run. Right? Now there are many things that could make a bike not stay idle. One, could be a tight clearance. Two, it could be a tight plug. Three, and I didn't think about that until I see the problem right now. I now see it's that problem. It could be something draining the power of the bike for it to not regulate properly. So when you start the bike, it doesn't get that proper electrical to maintain all the 12 volts, and then it kept on dying. And who was doing that? The so-called low power LED, great stuff. Although in all its blazing glory, they did try to provide you with the best. Boadiao did try to provide with the best buying that motorcycle from them. They give you LED lights, you know. These are supposed to run with 10 watt each, but one was constantly draining the bike to make it running around, let's say 40 watt or even above 35 watt. I'm not sure how many watt, but they were draining the bike. How I know? I'm like, okay, I'm going to run the bike, even though it's not idling properly. I'm going to run it. When it really, really breaks down, then I'm going to fix it. That's the last conclusion I've come up with that bike. Because I ride Chinese bikes, so that's my profession. And then it's been a month. The bike wasn't working for at least 2 weeks. And then constantly I would use it once a week until this week. This week, I use it 4 times during the week. And my trip goes, one trip about 12 miles and another trip comes around 12 miles. Now, the odometer is not proper, so it's reading 17 miles. I could deal with that. And there's a trick with that odometer too. Now, I'm going to show you guys what's wrong with this LED. See this battery? That's the Boadiao's battery. I don't use it. I use my own type of battery. Now, this battery wasn't provided by Boadiao. This battery was provided by the dealership that takes Boadiao to sell it to you. And these dealerships are specialized in small engines, specifically scooters. So this battery is the same thing you find on a Tao Lancer 150cc or even 50cc's or anything like that. So they think, it will work. But that's not the right battery for it. So when they give me that to me, automatically sees it. I know the displacement. You know, I know what I'm dealing with, so I bought the right battery. I didn't have to contact them. And no, I'm not going to sponsor any dealership. So this is the positive and this is the negative. On that specific LED, the negative is right here, right? And this is hot, this is hot. So I would do it like that, and I'll do this, nothing. I'll do this, nothing. Try again. I'll do this, nothing. I'll do this, nothing. So that's a bad one. Right? I'm gonna do this now. I'll do that. Whop. See? I'm gonna do that. Whop.
Sorry, could you say that again? I'm having trouble hearing you.
Siri, I'm not talking to you. So you see that? That's right. So that was draining the bike current for it not to be idling smooth. Now, that's the main issue of the bike right now, which I already fixed. How I fix that? Well, I read their little manuals. They did provide you with the right bulb that you're supposed to use on it. And over the years that I've owned Chinese bikes, the number one thing I used to do with them is remove the standard bulb, including the bike outside. And when I do that, I put them on a box. And these boxes would have my alarm. So I buy the alarm and remove the standard bulb and put the bulb in there. That's how I've had them. So this bulb is at least, it's around, give or take, 5 years old. Now, I did try, to my best extent, I did try to use that LED. But the thing is, the space is too big. Now I understand why they give you that cheap LED, because that space is very small, which is understandable. And I can use this LED. That's another fancy one, but I'm gonna have to dismantle the whole headlight, and I only have one of them. I need to buy two, and that one comes with a whole headlight housing, and that is expensive to ship from China to here. I had it one time from the John Way, and I dismantled the housing. I threw it away. I just kept the LED. So if I need two of them, I'm gonna have to buy the headlight again, just so I can get this one. So this will fit, but I'm gonna have to dismantle the whole headlight and take out the glass and put it inside and make this permanent. Whereas this is too big. So I've come to a conclusion. Maybe I should use the right LED. On the manual, they did tell you that you have to use, they would tell you that you have to use HS1, 12 volt, 35 watt. So why do you include that and you give us a crappy LED light that will drain the bike and make it not idle? Why do you do that? I'm not talking to my audience here. I'm talking to you, Boadiao, who will be watching this video. Why do you do that? Do you think I'm stupid? Do not figure that out? So this will be an issue with every single one that is sold after my sample. Yep. The thing is, there's some stuff I gotta do now that the bike is finally open. First, I gotta show you guys what the bike is. Finally, I'm gonna do it. Right? First, I gotta change the clutch to hydraulic. I can only do that, no one else can. And my set of clutch comes with both left and right. Second, I gotta put ABS in there, the mechanical ABS, the one that automatically activates when you press the brake. Third, now that the bike is ridden, I gotta change the oil. But that's just the first oil change. The first oil change is supposed to be around 100 miles. I did about 270 something miles on the bike. So that is kind of bad, but at the same time, not too bad. Because I say so. Nah, I'm kidding. But not too bad. I could have went all the way to 600 miles, just straight up 600. Have I trust that oil in there is good, I could do it. But because the light went bad and the whole bike ended up being open, I figure I may as well do the oil change. So the oil change, the spark plug, I gotta do an engine timing. There's a lot of things going on. The clutch that I mentioned earlier, the ABS I mentioned earlier, a lot of things going on. Hopefully, while I'm talking, I'm gonna show you guys the work that I'm doing. But yeah, now that I finished with this, like my Lafon bike, which is in building mode. Right, this is the engine here. Yes. The Lafon bike is in building mode. Like the John Wick bike was for a while. I removed the engine piece by piece, work on that desk right here, and put it. So any bike that I have had starts smooth. You don't even have to struggle and mash the gas like some people is doing. You don't have to do that. The minute you engage that starter motor, the engine goes up once, two, it starts. All right, stay tuned.